Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Three Philosophers. We're here to talk about everything. We're here to talk about nothing. Hopefully, we're here to talk about something that interests you, excites you. Welcome to our Campfire Edition, Lighting Edition, Special Edition.
Yeah.
Special.
Let's go.
Give a shout out to the guys over at Ion CBD.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the shop name.
For providing us
With some,
399 of the components that's in the 400, out of the 400 components that's in weed.
Yeah, for real. They are on New Warrington Road or Navy Boulevard. I don't know when it changes.
Navy Boulevard.
Navy Boulevard by Yamato's, in the middle of Yamato's and Pete Moore.
That would be Pensacola, Florida, to the people that aren't local.
Exactly. That's for the local folks. Those guys are super knowledgeable and awesome. And they did this solely to provide people with a better solution than meds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals with all their side effects.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing them hopefully this next podcast, and the next one you guys will see, and that will be at their shop, which will be pretty cool change of pace.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the liquid version of Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
Never heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's the one that they made that's THC free. Actually, it's like 0.001% THC.
Yeah.
And they made it specifically for Charlotte, this girl, this young child that was having epileptic seizures.
Oh,
So they made it for her and named it after her. It's a special strain. It was featured by CNN, Sanjay Gupta.
Sanjay Gupta.
The series called Weed.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing stuff.
Let's do the Dow.
Okay, cool. Oh, cool. You picked a short one. Thanks.
Welcome.
When men lack a sense of awe, there will be disaster. Do not intrude in their homes. Do not harass them at work. If you do not interfere, they will not weary of you. Therefore the sage knows himself, but makes no show. Has self-respect, but is not arrogant. He lets go of that and chooses this.
Awesome.
Period.
Cool.
So we were going to touch base because I've been seeing a lot of hate on YouTube for a $15 minimum wage. And a lot of people don't realize that there's such a far-ass gap between our minimum wage and our minimum cost of living, which in Florida, according to, I need to fucking source that. That would be great. It's on, I think, Jason, you posted it on, oh, genius. Jason posted on our Facebook page?
Yes.
Yeah. So Florida's cost of living.
That's you.
That's Jesus Christ. Florida's cost of living.
That's Jesus Christ. He texts
He texts me. Yeah, he's got AT&T. What a piece of shit. So Florida's minimum cost, you have to make to afford a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment is $14 an hour, I think. Or 14 or 19, something like that. So everybody's giving shit because what I mainly saw, what really pissed me off, is that a guy posted, or some webpage posted on Facebook, that was a video of an oil worker, and on the caption it said, "This is what $15 an hour really looks like." And I was like, dude, fucking oil workers make a minimum of $26 an hour.
Yeah.
And for, I mean, I don't believe, yeah, sure, but for a McDonald's worker to make $15 an hour doesn't sound right. But if that guy that's his only job he could get, and he's working 80 hours every 2 weeks, and he can't live off that wage,
I mean,
isn't that kind of shitty?
Here's the issue I have is I want to know like what year or what era or what generation that we came to in America where we became dog eat dog, fuck your neighbor instead of love thy neighbor, and why we are so adamant against helping other people and being human. When did that occur?
I feel like that was Vietnam era. I think like when right as we got out of Vietnam, that's when everybody started
the whole
everybody.
point, if you go back in time, we formed tribes to protect us from bears and wolves, right? We bonded together, became social animals because there's safety in numbers.
Lions, bears.
Yeah.
Something. Oh my.
Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my.
And then later we formed cities and later states and nations to protect us from other humans, like marauders and pirates and bandits, right?
Yeah.
So again, because safety in numbers.
Yeah.
So we have this team mentality in our DNA. We all want to be part of a team or part of a clique or part of a tribe. But what is it about the American culture that's taken a left turn that's like, fuck my tribe, now it's me against the world?
For real.
I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder, but I'm gonna step on your back to get there. Fuck you. If you're homeless, fuck you. Get a job, you lazy piece of shit.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Like you work at a Burger King, you're a fucking scum.
Yeah, now you're an asshole.
Or you work at Walmart, you're a lowlife. You don't make enough money, you can't provide.
You know, it's funny because we talk about
They had to have
bullying.
food drive at Walmart for the Walmart workers.
That'd be ironic.
Isn't that funny as fuck?
Walmart's a fucking piece of shit when it comes to their employees.
Like
though.
what I keep hearing is we're talking about a minimum wage. I think we should go fucking 5,000 steps beyond that, and we should set a maximum amount of money that you can own.
People have talked about that.
Yeah.
$10
We talked
billion.
about that.
$10 billion.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't have any more than $10 billion.
yeah, that's actually a thing.
What the fuck can't you do with 10? You can buy like 509 islands.
Yeah,
And put casinos and hotels and
mean, look at the
roads on
Rothschilds.
all of those.
exactly.
I think what their net worth is what 400 billion or some shit like that.
No one knows.
It's estimated.
No, it's in the trillions.
Oh, is it?
It's in the trillions.
Yeah, they
I
own
also-
enough money to buy countries.
Yes.
Here's an argument that I got into with a dude at work. He was like, if you are, obviously it was cooking shit, so obviously it was chef. He was like, if you're a chef and you've had the job for 30 years, you should get paid more than the guy who just got on the job.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I was saying no, that if all the jobs, period, should just have a minimum amount of payment. All of them. It shouldn't matter
I
if
think-
you've had 30 years or you've had 1 year. If you want to be a chef, then you get paid blammo.
Well, I think
across the board.
time. The reason the time thing matters is
Experience.
well,
comes
it's
with that.
yeah. There's experience, but there's also what gives me an incentive to stay. So time is usually an incentive,
Yeah.
right? So just like the military, right? The incentive to stay in the military is if I put my 20 years in, now you owe me, right?
Cash out on the benefits.
I can cash out on the benefits.
Yeah.
But along the line of what you're saying is I think that military model should follow in the civilian world as well. If you can put 20 years in the military and get retirement, I should be able to put 20 years in the paper mill or 20 years in at Walmart or 20 years in at whatever. If you serve 20 years of your life working
think
for
you can
someone
do that
else,
at the post
they should
office.
owe you. But that should be uniform across, I think, everything.
Yeah, they should give you more vacation days, more money, or better benefits, fucking tenure, anything.
Well, the funny thing,
Or move up the
just-
ladder.
Then people lose the sense of equality. Then there is a hierarchy among people. And I think the hierarchy needs to be destroyed.
oh, I agree.
Because if the hierarchy of, well, I've been here longer, I should get paid more than you. Well, how about we just get rid of that
That's
entire
that sense of seniority.
that entire
I'm with that.
sense of thinking. This is if everyone got paid the same amount in every job. I mean, obviously different jobs would have different, minimum caps.
Yeah.
But if everyone who worked in the same place doing the same shit got paid the same amount, then the hierarchy structure of I'm better than you, I make more than
You
you
get
would
that.
be gone.
Well,
it would be more of a team.
Yeah, you get
More cohesion
Cohesion.
would take place.
you get that at a lot of places that you work at. A lot of people notice that is that when, like, I worked at a restaurant where the owners treated all their workers like shit, like pure fucking scum, like they were better than everybody. But once you walked out of those buildings and got on the same ground that nobody owned, then all of a sudden they're like your best friend.
Well, I know I sound anti-American like almost on every podcast, but if you look at Japan, for instance, Japan, you could be a street sweeper and you're respected because you take pride in sweeping the street. So Japan has a mindset, a cultural programming that everyone is more or less equal in the skill set that they do. They're, well, not equal, but respected in the skill set that they do. You could be a sushi chef, and if you're a good sushi chef, you're
you don't look
well
down
respected.
on anybody.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, you're a fucking street sweeping piece of shit.
But the U.S. has this really warped sense of ourselves in the only people that are respected are the dog eat dog. I'm going to step on everyone and burn bridges and climb to the top.
Shady people,
and be
people.
Ultra materialistic, like Money Mayweather, the boxer.
Yeah,
someone interviewed him, and he's got this special watch, and they were asking about the fight with Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter, and they're like, "Hey, when are you going to fight Conor McGregor? Would you take $25 million?" And Money Mayweather was like, "I got to be paid," and he sticks his hand out the door of his Bentley, and he says, "How much is this watch?" And the reporter's like, "I don't know." He goes, "Look it up." Well, they did. He's wearing $250,000 as a watch.
He carries $50,000 in cash wherever he goes.
But the point is, that is looked up upon.
Yeah.
So let's not even talk about how he's been charged with domestic violence like 3 times.
Why the fuck would you spend $200,000 on a fucking watch to begin with?
But the point is, people are respected for that. So here's another example. We talk about bullying. And we're anti-bullying if it's in school. If you're a bully on the playground and you're 9, you're a piece of shit, and we as parents want to get onto the children for bullying.
Yeah, but when you're
Who's
23?
the biggest bully of all? Trump just went abroad and was at the NATO summit and grabbed a president of another country by the arm and shoved him out of the way and stood in front of him all cocky. And all of his supporters are applauding him for being strong, a good leader. So let me get this straight. If you're 10 or 11 and you're being a douche on the playground, you're a bully. But if you're 70 and you're president of a country and you're supposed to be mature and you do the same exact thing, and then you're a leader.
That shit wraps around on you, and that little fucking wimpy kid that comes up to you that you've been pushing on all the time fucking actually hits back.
But what is wrong with us how we think that is strength? Being a bully and being a douche is somehow strength if you're an adult. That's stupid. It's backwards.
Yeah. Oh, he's got leadership qualities. Why?
That's not leadership.
A fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, that's not leadership.
Because he acts like a fucking ungrateful crackhead.
That's a bully. If you see that in childhood behavior, that's called a bully.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand that.
But we were talking about the minimum wage, and what brought that up is it was a Fox News clip. And it was this one of the reporters on Fox News, one of the hosts or whatever, was bitching about Social Security. And she was confused. She was obviously an idiot, and she didn't understand that Social Security you pay into. They take Social Security tax out of your paycheck every week that you work. Yeah. And that goes into a fund, and that fund is supposed to be separate from the general fund. Okay? So this is the government saying, hey, listen, we don't trust you saving your own money for a rainy day and for a retirement, so we're going to go ahead and take it out for you, and we're going to tuck it away. Though? It is. Yeah. But we're going to tuck it away in this special fund, and then when you get old or you get sick or you get hurt, because it's called SSI, right? If you're disabled, you can collect SSI, which is your Social Security that you've paid in already, okay? But this Fox host somehow thinks that that's welfare for people, and you shouldn't get Social Security. You've earned Social Security. So when is it that our country and all these viewers, all these right-wing fundamentalist bullshit idiots are thinking, yeah, fuck you, you lazy piece of shit. You don't deserve Social Security. Bitch, I paid into it. They take a certain amount out of my check each week. I've earned that shit.
Exactly. They took that money away from me. I want it back now.
Exactly.
And they keep pushing and pushing that age to where it's harder and harder to get back now. Now you're just like, I got to get fit so I can get my Social Security one day and don't die.
Well, that's another thing is, when originally Social Security was designed and the retirement age was 55. So you could collect it at 55. So I've got a secret handshake agreement, a contract, if you will, with Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam, you and I, we shake hands. You're going to take this money out of my check. Okay? Somehow Uncle Sam decided mid-contract, mid-swing, to change it to 57. without my approval, and then changed it from 57 to 60, and then to 62, and then to 65. And for me, it's 67. For you, it might be 70 because they keep changing it.
84.
Yeah, you're going to be like 98 before you can. Why is that okay?
I got 12 months to live.
So imagine you sign a contract with your cell phone provider that you're going to pay on the 21st of the month, and you just decide from now on I'm paying on the 30th. Fuck you. What do you think is going to happen to your cell phone?
What happens if you kick the bucket?
Your spouse or whoever your dependent is gets the money.
Okay.
After they pay for you being dead.
But here's the catch.
The most hilarious
Here's the
thing on the
catch.
fucking planet.
If you have no dependents, guess who gets the money?
The government.
Yeah.
What?
But why are they allowed to change the contract?
Oh, that's right. I think I have a 400,000 life insurance policy still.
From the government?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Who's your beneficiary?
Can I be
I
one?
think my mom.
Damn.
That's not fair.
I don't even know how to look that up. I don't give a shit.
But what you were talking about, Brett, is there was actually an NPR story that I heard, and there was a city in Canada that was a big logging city.
Canada.
And in the 70s, Canada, man, they're so innovative in some things.
I give them props, man.
The logging mill went tits up, right? And so the government, a couple colleges, sociologists and economists got with the local government and said, listen, we want to do an experiment on this little town. And they worked out a deal with the government where they set a minimum income, just a flat minimum income for everyone, regardless. And this was like in the 70s. And the experiment NPR was talking about is later on they came back and started interviewing the people that were still alive and their children on what that did to the community. And what was crazy is if you look at the American mindset, Americans would tell you, oh, well, if you gave someone a minimum income, and I want to say it was like around $25,000 a year. It was like 25 grand a year or 30 grand a year or something like that in today's money. So what
in the 70s?
Yeah.
So what's that, like 40?
Well, no, that would be our money today. So maybe back then it was like 12 or 15,000 or something.
Oh.
But what Americans would tell you today is, oh, that's going to make everyone lazy. They're going to be, just lazy and fucking pieces of shit.
Dude, robots are taking our jobs.
Actually, what happened
So what the fuck are we going to do about
is dudes who were working and got this minimum income when they had children, they would leave work. They would just basically quit and stay home with the child for the first year and help raise the child. That's an innovative concept.
Ain't it?
2 parents.
Wow.
And then they would go back to work. Or people would learn to play guitar. Or people would I always wanted to start my own business, and they would start a bookstore, right? In other words, people followed their dream and what they always wanted to do.
Because it was affordable.
And what they were good at, because the minimum rent, gas, that kind of stuff was taken care of. And so I forget the statistics they talked about on NPR, but it was like 2% of the people basically were lazy. Everyone else got more involved in society and more involved in economics and more
dude, think about it. You have to. How many hours are in a week? Whatever that number is, you're fucking.
Oh, total hours?
24 times 7.
Yeah.
I work 40 hours a week, and that's around an hour and a half extra getting there and going home.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
What the fuck time do I have?
Right.
Zippo.
Yeah, look at our employer. Is about to send a dude all the way to Century, Florida. If you don't know where that is, look up the distance from Century to Pensacola. And that is a motherfucker of a drive. And it's just straight.
Well,
so it feels longer.
You know what that? No, that's nothing. You know what the average commute in the U.S. is?
What is?
To a job?
What?
2 hours.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm dead serious.
The average commute.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Because most people
40
work
minutes.
in big cities. Most people work in Chicago, New York, L.A., right? But they can't afford to live in the big cities.
So you're talking about traffic time as well?
Yeah, I'm talking, 2
You're
hours.
including traffic and all that.
No. I'm just saying traffic. To work.
Okay.
One way. 2 hours
hours.
is the average.
That's a fucking
Nationwide.
bullshit.
We're
If you live in
spoiled.
California, that's 5.5 years
Exactly.
per day
Per day.
to
Yeah.
get to work.
Yeah.
and then 7 to get home.
Yeah, we're living in a small town. We're spoiled.
Yeah, we're really spoiled.
Most people, it takes
Because
2 hours.
I'm originally
so that's
from
4 hours a day minimum.
Plus you're working.
Plus your work.
Yeah, and I'm originally from Nashville, and going back to when it felt like a small
I
town.
love that she keeps turning on and off the vacuum. Like, why won't you just vacuum once?
Right?
Exactly.
Get it over with.
So, when I used to
I'm
go
gonna hit this one more time.
to downtown from my house, which is I lived on the outskirts of downtown Nashville, so to get there would take you average maybe like 20 minutes with traffic, give or take, because we had major highways, and now takes you about an hour.
Yeah. Oh,
Same
yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
So living here, I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm glad I don't live there. Like, especially when I go to Atlanta, it's crucial. Like a fucking Brian, our friend, he lives literally, for us it would be like a 15-minute drive or a 20-minute drive to his work. Takes him 45 minutes on a good day. That's amazing.
Dude, I leave 3:50
AM.
Yeah.
To get to work by 6.
No, to get to work at like
4:30.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that. I used to do
But
that commute.
I
know
get to
how that is.
fucking leave wicked. I get to go to work early as fuck. So
No traffic.
I mean, I've only got to like once a week. I'll maybe cut off 4 people.
Yeah, you got the people that forgot like their
Yeah.
underwear at somebody's house.
Like, yo, dude, what the fuck? It's like it's literally 4 o'clock in the morning. Go 55. Get the fuck out of my way.
I long for a day where when you meet someone, you don't judge them by what they do for work.
Well, look, dude.
Yeah,
Because equality
or what they
exists
drive.
for Americans, because we live in a capitalist society. It's money. So we'll never hit equality because we'll
I wouldn't say
get
never.
to the point where we will have a base income for all
I wouldn't say never. I think there's an awakening.
Oh, I mean, it'll happen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But at
maybe
this-
not in
at
That's
this-
what I
at
talk
this
to people about
standpoint.
work. They're like, well, yeah, that's just the way it is.
I hate that mentality.
Dude, what? No.
Dude, this game, we made this game
They
up.
ask me, well, they don't ask me all the time anymore, but they did when I first started working there. Dude, why do you work so hard? Why do you do so well? I don't like work.
Which sounds counterintuitive.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You don't like work, but you work so well. Yeah. So I get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be here. This is a stupid thing. Why
is.
do I have to come to work
Yeah.
to exist?
Yeah, it's stupid.
And the only answer is, oh, that's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Well, why don't we change it?
Oh.
We can't. No.
Yes,
if
we
we
can.
talk about it,
Exactly.
then we can do it.
Exactly. We invented this game. We invented the rules of this game. Money is a game. Money is fake. Politics are fake. Nations are fake. Invisible lines in the sand that make up nations are
Oh, I got
fake.
pulled over the other day.
For an invisible line.
Yeah. You're not wearing your helmet. You're in Alabama. And I said, that's odd. I don't know when I crossed this invisible line that said I have to wear my helmet. Yeah. And the cop just rolled his eyes at me.
Because in his world, it's dead serious.
Yeah.
But if you stand back and look at it, it is ridiculous.
Like, where is this area?
And why?
Yeah.
Right, for real.
I mean, you're in the same country. You didn't cross a different country.
No. He's like, oh, yeah, I pull over people a lot because they're from Florida and they're just driving down the road thinking that they're in Florida still. Nope. You're in Alabama. You got to wear a helmet.
Which is why he let you go, because you get so many people.
What the fuck?
Well, then why even pull them over anymore?
Exactly. It is ridiculous.
Oh, it was so awesome, though. I saw the light. Well, was that a red light? It's like red light, 2 or 3 cars, me. Saw the lights. So I pulled over into the lane and told them to go around. And then just kept sitting there.
Yeah, that didn't look suspicious at all.
Like, go around, man. So I tried to move over more. I was like, go around. And he was like, you, over there. I was like, you, go.
I remember, that reminds me of a story. I was visiting my dad in Tennessee, and we were going through the ghetto, and you have to go over these
In the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
It's a song, right?
It is. So it's this weird ass intersection where it's kind of like an X. So you have to go straight and then hook a little bit, whatever. So I'm going to these train tracks and I see a cop car, so I tap my brakes a little bit. I didn't know what speed I was going. I was just like, I'm not familiar with this place as I used to be. And then all of a sudden I hear seatbelt, and I'm like, whoa! I don't drive with my seatbelt on. Fuck you. You can kiss my ass. It's a stupid law. And I see this cop yelling at people that are driving, screaming. If he sees them with their window down or sees them
speaking of a minimum
seatbelt,
wage, he's probably only making $12 an hour.
For real.
And he got picked on in high school, and he can't get any other job.
I mean, come on. I'm just trying to go fucking to a restaurant, and you're screaming at me.
Yeah, chill out, dude.
That's my biggest pet peeve is that the seatbelt law.
Well, leaving your house from the last podcast,
Yeah.
I'm driving down Mobile Highway, and I'm doing 45. A big county, Escambia County SUV blows by me. I kid you not, 100 miles an hour.
Everybody in our town.
I kid you not.
Every time I see that, I get like 300 feet behind him and cruise with him.
Well, here's the deal.
I'm allowed to do that, and I can't.
He's got no lights on.
Yeah, that's...
He's got no light. He comes up to the intersection. He's in the left lane. There's a car that just, the light just turned red, so a car in front of him comes to a stop. He whips it in the right-hand lane and cuts off, literally inches from the front bumper of another car that was in the right lane. Turns on his lights just to run the intersection. Turns his lights back off once he gets through the intersection and hauls ass. I am the law. I am the law.
I would.
They don't even know anything about law.
I asked a cop, and I was like, why do these people do this? Because he comes into the store periodically. And he was like, well, sometimes during a robbery.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, sometimes during a robbery, they won't put their lights on, and they'll only flip them on to go through the intersection. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because you guys have a switch to turn your lights on. Like 3 different switches to do different modes, and then you have a siren on and off. Exactly. So why don't you just put your emergency lights on so you can just go ahead and do that, and they still don't hear you?
They speed. They don't use their blinkers. They don't follow any of the rules that you and I have to follow. Off. Yeah, they don't. They do whatever the fuck they want.
Guard the guards.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to police the police?
Did you see that video I posted on Facebook? I didn't put it on our Facebook.
You didn't see this.
Remember that guy who shot that 12-year-old kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got fired.
Good.
Yeah, but you know why he got fired?
Why?
Because he lied on his application.
So,
did you hear about the lady that signed up for the police force and was overqualified because she scored too high on the test?
Wow.
And she sued the police department, and the judge favored in favor of the police department and threw out the lawsuit because the argument that the police department had is she's so intelligent, we're going to spend money training her, and she's going to be bored with the job and leave. So that's money out of our pocket, training money, and she's not going to stay with us anyway. That's a theoretical stretch that, A, she's going to quit just because she's smart and bored and your job's dumb. But the judge ruled in favor of the police department, saying, yep, yeah, she's probably too smart to be a cop. Let's go ahead and not let her be a cop.
Dumb.
Shouldn't we want people to be intelligent if they're going to carry a gun and have the ability to shoot people? Don't we want them to have kind of a high IQ?
No, dude. If you want to be a cop, you have to hate black people.
So that reminds me of the video. There was a state trooper right behind a city cop. The city cop was going home, apparently, or he was on a job, and he was going like 90.
Oh, more than that. Over 100.
Yeah, probably over 100 down the interstate with no lights on, just driving. So the fucking state trooper,
a lady cop,
blooped her lights on with
followed
sirens.
Him for a good minute, like 40 minutes.
Yeah, for like probably about like 20, 30 miles. And then finally he was just like, she called onto the radio, this dude's doing this, blah, 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 blah. So they called him on his radio. He pulled the fuck over.
Made him pull over.
She pointed a gun at his ass and
put cuffs on him.
Yeah, and arrested him.
And then he was all apologetic. Oh, man, I'm just... And she's like, are you on duty? And he's like, no, but, are you on duty? Well, no. Okay. Get in the back of the car.
Yeah. That's who policed the police.
That lady...
The police policed the police.
Also got harassed out the yin yang.
Oh, I bet, because
And
of
that
the
ladies-
fraternity of cops.
Because you're not
Yeah, I got
allowed
a
to
story for
run
that.
somebody's shit unless they did something. And that lady's shit was run like 100 sometimes, and cops from the dude's station were going to her house in the middle of the night and harassing her.
This reminds me of a Joe Rogan podcast, because they talked about this, and they talked about exactly what you're talking about, who polices the police. And they were saying, isn't it ridiculous? I forget who was on there. Oh, it was Everlast, the musician Everlast,
okay.
on Joe Rogan's podcast. Check it out. But they were having this exact conversation, ironically, and he was saying, listen, I understand, these are your buddies. These are who's going to protect you when the shit hits the fan, and, they kind of got your life in your hands. But
They need to hold you accountable.
well, why is it that the good cops, and we all agree that most cops are probably good people. Most cops are probably good cops. There's just a handful of bad apples. But the problem is, because of this stupid fraternity bullshit, is the good cops don't stand up when someone does wrong.
Well,
you should stand up. Well, you should, and
Because
bust
all
their
those
ass.
People fucking
Hold on.
rip on you later.
Yeah.
So there's a news story that came out, I think, on CNN or MSNBC, and it was a cop, a detective, who got moved up from city. What do you call it? Patrol? Not a patrol. I'm trying.
Boopy doop.
Yeah. Well, it's traffic.
Okay.
There you go. Let's go with that. That's a better word. So he got moved up to a detective, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but he made it aware that another fellow police officer was doing something wrong. He told the chief. That guy found out, and eventually he had to move to different departments, but what they were doing to him was so fucked up. They would leave dead rats on his desk.
Yeah.
Fuck up his tires on his personal car.
There's story after story.
Oh man, it's so dirty. It's so dirty.
But here's the deal is, okay, culture is formed, right? You have a family culture. Each family has their own kind of culture. You've got racial culture. Each race kind of has their own culture. You've got national cultures, right? You've got police culture, military culture. Culture can be created, but it can also be changed. We've got to somehow figure out a way to change culture. I mean, I go back to the manufacturing crap that's been brainwashed into my head, is continuous improvement, right? Total quality management is you want to be better tomorrow than you were today.
Yeah.
And that's that's survival. You want to make a better product than your competitor. Right. Therefore, you have to have better employees. Your employees have to be better. Your processes have to be better. Better R&D. Right. Why aren't we like that as a nation? Why, as a nation, can't we use that same principle of, as a country, our children need to be smarter than the previous generation's
Everybody's
children.
just too spoiled.
Our
man.
school system should be better next year than it was this year.
Yeah.
Right.
And it hasn't changed.
No, we go backwards.
Yeah.
That's the whole. I'm sorry. I got an argument with your mom. Republicans are backward. They believe in status quo, at the very minimum, keep things the way they are. But they kind of want to go back to the good old days. Well, the good old days, women couldn't vote. The good old days, there was slavery.
You don't
The good old days, there was no such thing as EPA, and you could pollute as much as you want.
I'm gonna bring back fucking Lion King up in this bitch.
Oh, shit.
When he fucking smacked Simba on the head with the little fucking rain stick.
Rafiki.
Yeah. And he said, he was like, why'd you hit me? He's like, well, it's in the past. Well, it hurts. The past hurts, but you move on.
Well, the whole thing, and people, liberal is a bad word, but liberalism, look it up in the dictionary, is progressive. And progressive means you move forward, right? You're not stuck in the past, and you're not stuck in the present, but you're by the very word, the root word is progress. You want to progress. You want to do better. So why isn't that a thing? Why don't people enjoy moving forward?
Because we put money in the center of things. And the only thing that we can do is either get rid of money, and the only thing I can come up with to use as substitute as money is emotions, because it's an untangible thing.
Like
So
money.
people wouldn't be able to hoard it. And affects all people, regardless of. There's no language barrier with emotion, like money, or make money equal for everybody. Give everybody a minimum and a maximum. Those people have. The Walmart people have $300 billion. If they had a max $10 billion, that's $290 billion
that goes back into the economy.
that could be spread among other people who have $10 billion. And
Yeah, but
then
them
we
fuckers
wouldn't-
didn't earn it. Them lazy bastards, they just sit around and do nothing.
Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Who gives a shit? It doesn't.
We're all
fucking matter.
human.
Yeah. Like literally,
More
if,
people would have $10 billion, and less people would literally be dying because they don't have anything.
all the billionaires could give $1 to everybody in the country, and
People
everybody would be
think
better off.
that
As the
humans-
Beatles used to say, all we need is love.
Yeah, I like that song.
But it's the truth. But I started thinking about this the other day.
Oh, sorry.
So you had the 60s, right? That was the massive.
Smell it. Hold on, I'm sorry. Does it smell like weed?
It smells like IPA.
No. Hops are
the
cousins of
Yeah,
weed.
I know,
Marijuana.
I don't understand
Sometimes
why
I smell
they
a
don't
little
taste
bit.
good.
So sometimes when you fucking open an IPA
smells a
up,
little like
it
weed.
smells a little like weed.
But I mean, think about it. Okay, so the 60s was a huge cultural revolution, right?
The ugly cousin.
And people started doing psychedelics, and they started becoming anti-war. They started doing communes. They started bringing in Eastern religion.
Yeah.
Hinduism came, the Hare Krishnas, etc. Okay, that same thing occurred in the 90s to a smaller degree, right? You had grunge, and a lot of that movement was kind of hippie-ish, right? It was back to weed and back to hallucinogens and kind of anti-society kind of shit, right? It just happened again with these train hoppers culture. There's a huge movement of
The vagabond guys.
the vagabonds. Yeah, it's the
Hobo codes.
exactly. It's bringing back the hobos. So there's that, and then there's the tiny house movement, and then there's the van life people that just live in their vans now. So that's coming back. So if you look at the time span, right, from the founding of the country to the 60s was X number of years.
Yeah.
Okay, then you had the 70s and 80s, boom, 90s. That was only a 20-year spread.
Mm-hmm.
But then from the 90s, this new movement happened around 2010. So that's only 10 years now.
Yeah.
So it seems to be those type movements are the time between the backlash, right? Because you always have a pendulum swing, right? So you have alternative people, and then we go ultra conservative. So the 80s was you had the 60s was drop out of society, and the 80s was all about fucking capitalism. Wall Street, yuppies, buy a Porsche, disco, do a shit ton of drugs, make a lot of money, and then the backlash to that happened in the 90s. Well,
drugs.
yeah, cocaine specifically. Yeah. But the time between the backlash is tighter and tighter. So there seems to be a draw overall to a hippie type mindset quicker. And then the capitalism mindset seems to last shorter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that's happening. I think there's an awakening. Oh, speaking of, I want to do a shout out. There's a podcast. It's Podcast 100 of Aubrey Marcus's podcast. And we posted it on the Three Philosophers Facebook page. But Duncan Trussell and Aubrey Marcus are at the MAPS convention, and it's the Podcast 100. It's a fucking awesome podcast.
What does MAP stand for? Meaning?
I forget. Yeah, I don't know.
My anus suffers.
That you forgot.
Yeah, the
letters.
P. Yeah.
There is no P.
It's silent.
The P is silent?
P is silent.
Nice.
My P is silent.
Where are we at time-wise?
37 minutes.
Only 37 minutes.
Only 37 minutos.
Yeah, so I mean, a common theme always seems to be, at least the three of us seem to want to change the system and are not satisfied with the system the way it is. We run in our daily lives into more and more people that I think feel the same. The trick is, how do we get the mindless cattle, sheeple people who are satisfied with just go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home.
It's stupid.
How do we get those people to wake up and join this movement and change the game?
I don't think it'll happen. I think there will be fucking maybe 20,000 people that won't completely stay the way they are right now, go to work, go to home, and then everybody will slowly start converting and getting woken up. And then you'll have that little group of just nonsense bullshit that people just don't want to agree with.
Well, those people follow anything that you tell them. So somehow this type of mentality needs to permeate media.
People.
It needs to permeate Hollywood. It needs to permeate, the stuff that people follow.
It just needs to be.
It needs to become cool.
More that it can.
Yeah.
It can change.
It needs to become cool.
There is absolutely nothing in the entire universe, including all galaxies, that doesn't go through entropy.
Oh, absolutely.
This needs to hit an entropy point, and that point needs to be understood and accepted.
I couldn't say it better myself. That's a good endings point. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I mean, how do you top that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't. But we still haven't discussed on the topic of how do we make fixed cost of living.
I think it's coming around. I mean, the model I talked about with the NPR study in Canada worked. More and more, that's what Bernie talked about. Bernie mentioned that.
Yeah.
Well, we literally have to do that.
Yeah.
Robots are taking people's jobs. It sounds like I'm saying a joke, but I'm not. Robots are driving cars. Robots
it's not the Mexicans. It's not the Mexicans or ISIS or Muslims. Dumb rednecks in the South. It's not the Mexicans and it's not Muslims. Robots will take your jobs.
We're literally
And they're gonna
stripping
Wake
our
up.
jobs away.
They're doing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
In front of our face at Walmart.
I mean, yeah, he went to fucking Honda.
I hate to tell
They do
you,
it at
coal is
Walmart.
dead.
How many cash registers are open at Walmart?
Oh, exactly. You check yourself out.
Yeah.
Now you fucking do it yourself.
Yeah.
And eventually that person that watches it, it won't be there.
Right.
It'll be a Siri.
Cameras.
It'll be Siri.
Well, yeah, or that, yeah.
Bleep.
You stole. Please come back.
Right. Doors close automatically.
Right? Fucking
You
spike
won't
strips.
be talking to humans anymore when you go to Walmart. It'll be Siri. And less people are going to have shit to do, and more people are going to fight over jobs because we made money on such a high pedestal.
Yep. I totally agree.
How do we get rid of it?
Well, what'll happen is, just like those Mad Max sci-fi movies, is the U.S. will become an economy of consumers, and then the slave people will be in Thailand and will be in all these third world countries, and we'll continue to
Like it is
milk.
happening now.
Exactly, but even worse. There will be no manufacturing jobs in the U.S. Everything will be made in a third world country where there's no environmental regulations.
It's cheaper.
I mean, yeah, look at fucking China.
Yeah. So, I was listening to somebody. They were talking about this. If cell phones weren't made overseas, like your iPhone, that would cost $600 to fucking own one for some reason.
For real.
Even though you can buy laptops for like hundreds, 100, 200 bucks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Which is the same fucking thing.
and TVs.
Yeah. But if they were made in the U.S., they'd be something like $2,000
For real. There's
because
literally...
they'd have to pay the people.
You know,
to
I'm
make
okay
them.
with that because then people won't be texting like zombies while they're driving, and they would actually have conversations in restaurants with their family instead of looking at their fucking phone all the time. I'm okay with that.
This shit. If you make this here, this would probably cost you around $100. If you make this overseas, it's probably going to cost you $2.
And it should. Things should cost more.
Well,
Things.
yeah.
Here's my thing: is I think there should be a tax on anything that's not recyclable. Anything that's throwaway, like disposable, tax the fuck out of everything that's disposable, and force people to make stuff that's not disposable.
Well, we can't even get on the level of letting people make their own decisions.
That's true.
I hear you there.
We can't even
Yeah.
the government.
I can't even do something with my own mind, i.e., mushrooms or.
No, it's
Yeah.
basically
I'm not
thought
allowed.
police.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to think my own thoughts. or experiment with my own consciousness.
No.
My consciousness should be mine. That's freedom. That's what you and I were talking about. I am so fucking sick of hearing the world, 2 words, freedom and democracy.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't exist. We're not free.
You know, we don't spread freedom and we don't spread democracy
we
as
lost
Americans.
all our freedom when they fucking made the NSA.
Well, not only that is if we're free, then why are we overthrowing Chile, who had a democratically elected guy in office, and we invade Chile with the CIA and overthrow their democratically elected leader?
And why won't we do that with North Korea?
Exactly.
Why won't we do that with China?
Well, we have to have an enemy. If we don't have an enemy, we can't justify how much money we spend on the industrial military complex.
Yeah,
We always have to have an enemy.
But the people that we are overthrowing are people that we deal with.
Yep.
It's kind of funny that the own American government is our own enemy, but we won't wake up and see that. Like with the NSA, people were talking about fucking,
Dude,
you
they
gotta
record everything. They have a place in Arizona that they had to make up a new word for data.
Well,
like
Yeah.
a trilobite or some shit.
there was a thing
Beyond a
on
terabyte.
MSN or CNN or whatever, and it was like, oh, if you have a Samsung Smart TV, it can listen to you now.
Yeah.
The NSA has permission to tap into that. And then the lady was just like, well, here's a good simple fix, just turn it off.
It
There you
doesn't
go.
work. You know those.
Well, you have to unplug it.
Yeah.
There's a murder case where someone had the little Siri thing that you talk to and go, yo, bitch, fucking Google this shit for me. And it goes, bing, here's your answer. It is always listening.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's waiting for you to talk.
If you work for the NSA.
There was a murder that happened, and they were like, you need to give us, you need to give us that shit. And the people were like, can't, not going to do it. If we start giving you that shit, that means you're going to start. If we give you that shit now, for this instance, you're going to fucking use the fuck out of it.
Well, that was the big Apple case.
Yeah. It's a privacy thing.
Yeah, where Apple
Apple said, suck my balls, I'm not giving you a passcode to break into phones.
Exactly.
Because if you have that back door, then somebody else can have
But
that
here's the weird thing. You remember?
Backdoor doesn't get used by good people.
Exactly. Do you remember when, what was it, last week or the week before, where the hackers got in with the extortion software?
Oh, and they charged people to turn their computers
And they
back on?
literally shut down Britain's medical industry. They couldn't do surgery.
They were doing that with movies. They did that with Pirates of the Caribbean.
But get this. Do you know where that bug came from?
What?
Us?
The NSA found it in Microsoft or something and had it. And a hacker got it from the NSA, stole it. But the NSA knew the problem but refused to tell Microsoft. Yeah. So the NSA constantly goes after software to see their vulnerabilities, and they find the vulnerabilities, document the vulnerabilities, keep those vulnerabilities in a database, but don't tell anyone, they're not protecting us.
Yeah, and if you have people...
This is a government by the people, for the people.
Yeah,
it sounds so paranoia-ish, but...
It's George Orwell.
They literally know everything you fucking do.
And if people are so complacent with fucking, just turn it off, just unplug it. Why? Why should I just unplug it?
Yeah,
this shouldn't exist.
Exactly. But we don't stand up. Yeah. And say what you will about the Europeans, Americans, is the Europeans stand the fuck up. They riot. They protest. We don't.
Where do we stand up?
We don't stand up over anything. Look what happened at Standing Rock.
So if there's an injustice happening, you stand up and fight that person. Okay. But the things that we are fighting are, they don't have a physical form.
Okay, but it's the government. It's the government. Yeah.
So how do you fight against the thing that has no physical form that also is the thing that gives you what you have?
Okay, so the thing that gives you what you have has a weakness. Yeah. That thing requires money. So how you fight that thing is you stop that thing from having money. And so what they do in Europe, when they have an issue in Europe, they shut down the railways, they shut down the airports, they shut down, and they hurt the economy. And guess what? If you hurt the economy bad enough, the people who have the money that are losing the money come to you with negotiation. It works in Europe. It works in France a lot. They shut their government down routinely, and their government comes to them and basically says, uncle, and they capitulate a lot. We just don't do that.
Yeah, because
we're lazy. We're fat and lazy.
I feel as we don't make enough to be able to do that.
No, that's not true. We could easily do that.
Too many people want to do that, but they know that the repercussions take place.
Here's an example.
It affects them.
Here's an example.
It affects them first, and then...
But here's an example when it worked in the U.S. Here's a real-world example that worked in the U.S. is you had the civil rights movement. It happened all over the country, right? But it was unsuccessful. They were protesting on small levels over and over again, but guess what? Status quo. Nothing ever changed. Do you know what changed?
Was it the march?
The Million Man March. 1 million people showed up in Washington, and the government said, oh, shit, and they changed the law.
It doesn't work now.
Oh, it does.
We had we had what was it, like 8 countries had 1 million people fucking protest with global warming?
Yeah, but just imagine if...
We don't put constant pressure, though.
No.
I mean, we're weekend warriors. You know what I'm saying? We're weekend warriors. We do little things, but we don't do them sustained.
Yeah, we gotta go to work.
Yeah.
We could do it. Trust me. We could do it.
If a million people...
It just
takes
seems...
consistency.
It just seems that the way shit is set up, that we can't do it.
We can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
You can't
we absolutely
be in
can do
a
it.
fight and hit the guy one time and you're just
and give up.
He's...
it's a 12-round fight.
Yeah. We want the people... We want the normal people.
Yep.
And the normal people are the working people. And they know that they have to work to get shit done. So you're telling those people who don't think the way we think, don't go to work, suffer for a couple weeks, and fight.
Okay,
and those people are going, I have I can't. I have to support the shit I'm doing.
Here's what you do. Here are the steps. One is the normal people have to get off the tit. They have to get off the umbilical cord. So normal people should have a garden. They should be debt-free. They shouldn't be living above their means. And they should have enough money in the bank to last 6 months with no job. So it takes conscious effort. It's work. It's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And it takes long-term thinking. You need to think tomorrow, not just today, okay? So if enough people did that, enough people start checking out of the system, like the van life people are doing this, the tiny house people are doing this, it's happening, but just not enough people yet. So if more people did that, if they were debt-free, if they drove a lesser car than that they're driving now, if they lived in a lesser house than they think they need, like our friend up in Atlanta, instead, if they quit buying into that, I live up to here in debt, and just lived a step back for a second, like me, then they would be able to stand for a cause and not suffer those kind of ramifications.
Yeah, you're not paying so much into it. You don't have a loan, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have a car note.
Now you're living in slavery.
But we're forced.
You're not forced.
People are forced
you have a choice.
Live paycheck
to
paycheck.
You have a choice. No, they do that because they drink the Kool-Aid. They think how many people do you know drive a car that they really can't afford?
Me.
How many people do you know live in a house they really can't afford?
Potter.
So if Potter, as an example, okay, he makes good money. If he lived in an apartment still and decided not to buy that house, and if he drove if he drove a 10-year-old car instead of a brand new car, right? He's got enough money very quickly to save and have enough nest egg to last 6 months without working.
If he didn't buy if he bought $100,000 or an $80,000 house versus a $160,000 house, if he had, he's debt free on his car.
Houses fucking cost that much anyway.
Exactly.
Well, but the problem is, again, and it goes back to kind of our media and our pop culture, is we see things and we got to have it. We got to have those new Nikes. We got to have that new phone. And so that system, that's the trap. That system and the government knows that. To your example, they know you can't do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why they do
So
it.
you've got to fight that. And how you fight that is you don't drink the Kool-Aid. You live below your means. You live in a house that you buy cash like I did.
Yeah, but
Well, on that note,
It can be done.
it can be done. But the people,
you need to
the
get people on that
who
bandwagon.
are staring at the brainwash circle,
Yeah.
there's no way for another person to shut that off.
There is.
And when you tell I think the only way to shut that off is you shut it off.
No. There
The
is.
individual has to shut that brainwash
Well, yeah.
off.
But here's the example: is it's just like the Arab Spring. You know what shuts it off? Social media, podcasts.
Yeah.
They see this and they're like a spark
social
goes
media
off.
Also got Trump elected.
Well, that's true too.
Well, let's end that there, and we'll give a little intro, outro,
Are we?
an intro, outro, and we'll see you guys hopefully at CBD, Ion CBD. Hopefully, we'll see you next week over there, and we'll have a grand old time and talk about CBD all day and all the goods and bads of how that business in Pensacola got started up, and all the information that we want to talk about on CBD.
Cool. Sounds good.
Cool.
Oh.
It's great, it starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes and airplanes.
This song makes me think of Independence Day.